of sending weapons to terrorists. Turkey's also been accused of turning a blind eye to oil smuggling from Islamic State. That's according to an Iraqi member of parliament and former national security advisor. Dr. Moafak al-Rubai has told RT about alleged ISIL oil routes going from northwestern Syria into Turkey. This is a map which shows you the reported flow. Ankara, though, has denied ever buying Islamic State's oil. Mr. al-Rubai explained how illegal crude makes its way to Turkey right under the nose of the country's government.
In the last 8 months, ISIS has managed to sell what's worth $800 million worth of oil in the black market of Turkey, under the noses of the Turkish intelligence agency and Turkish security apparatus. And there is no shadow of doubt in my mind that Turkish government know about this very well, and they're turning a blind eye to it.
Dr. Moafak al-Rubai also claims wounded ISIL fighters have been receiving treatment in Turkish hospitals, even in major cities like Istanbul.
Let me tell you something which is not being reported well in the international press, and that's the treatment of the wounded fighter, a terrorist from ISIL. They get treatment in the Turkish hospitals near the borders and inside the hospitals, and we have report from our intelligence agencies that are still even in the wounded ISIL fighters get treated in Istanbul itself.
We've also spoken to Dr. al-Rubai about Turkey's downing of a Russian military jet over an alleged airspace violation. He said Turkey itself has violated Iraqi airspace multiple times over recent years as it continues to bomb the Kurds.
I would like to ask Mr. Erdogan. He's been violating the Iraqi airspace for the last 12 years at least, trying to attack and target PKK and YPG. There is no terrorist organization which can stand alone without a neighboring country helping it. Like now, in this case, Turkey, there is no doubt that Turkey is helping in an indirect way, or in a very subtle way. They're helping ISIL.
A plane carrying the body of the pilot killed after Turkey downed the Russian jet has departed for Russia. It's flying via Ankara. We can show you pictures of the Turkish Air Force jet taking off from the south of the country. Oleg Peshkov was shot dead by Syrian rebels while parachuting from his Su-24 bomber. The militia handed his remains over to Turkey. Turkish officials then gave Peshkov's body to Russian diplomats. Meanwhile, in Turkey, thousands are mourning the death of the prominent Kurdish human rights lawyer and government critic Tahir El-Chi, who was killed on Saturday. Last night, crowds flooded the streets of Diyarbakir, joining the funeral procession. And just before he was shot, Tahir El-Chi had been making a press statement, calling for an end to violence in the region.
Medeniyete beşiklik etmiş, ev sahipliği yapmış.
Moments after that, he was shot dead and a gunfight erupted. Unidentified gunmen opened fire at El-Chi and other lawyers. 2 policemen also killed in the shootout. 49-year-old El-Chi received a fatal head wound. RT's William Whiteman reports from the center of Diyarbakir, where the Kurdish human rights campaigner was murdered.
We've tried to reach the scene where he was killed, but police have set up a barricade. You can see here there are police lines everywhere. I'm told that all local residents inside of this area have been evacuated.
After being ordered to disperse from the area by security forces, we headed to a memorial service for El-Chi, which was being held nearby. Human rights activists from across Turkey were in attendance.
And we're going to ask some of his friends and colleagues what their memories of him are, what sort of work he was involved in, and who they think was exactly behind the killing of him.
I met Tahir 25 years ago at university. He was a peace-loving, caring, well-disciplined person with good intentions. He was arrested before and endured torture because of his beliefs. After his statements on Turkish television saying the PKK is not a terrorist organization, he was loved even more.
The first thing that comes to mind about Tahir is his courage. He was loved and respected by the Kurdish community for his courage and conviction, but he always knew he would die one day because of this.
Erdogan and the pro-government press in Turkey were quick to blame the PKK for Elçi's death, despite the fact that he had made multiple statements in defense of them. When questioned on who they felt was responsible for his death, his former colleagues had this to say.
This assassination is a deliberate act of intimidation aimed at all who take part in political struggles against injustice in Turkey. Social media and mass media present it as having been carried out by the PKK, but the Kurdish region doesn't buy any of this.
The Turkish leadership's crackdown on the Kurds has come in for harsh criticism, given the fact that the Kurdish militia is one of the key forces fighting jihadists in the region. And the Erdogan regime has been bombing Kurdish targets both at home and in Iraq, which some slammed as sabotaging the West's battle to crush Islamic State by simply crippling the very forces fighting jihadists. And within the past few months, Kurds in Turkey have become the target of several deadly ISIL bombings. Following the deadly ISIL bombing in Ankara in October, the Kurdish PKK militia called on the Turkish government to declare a ceasefire, but were then suddenly hit with fresh airstrikes. And while Erdogan is cracking down on the Kurds, his allies in Washington are praising the Kurds in the fight against Islamic State. Here are some reports from the US Central Command and Department of State. They say gains by Syrian Kurdish fighters have disrupted ISIL movements across the border. Back in June, their success was described as dramatic, while earlier reports praised Kurdish fighters for being a hostile force in ISIL's backyard. The former mayor of London, Ken Livingstone, told RT's Sophie Shevardnadze that despite standard anti-Russian rhetoric, the West is now recognizing that it's impossible to defeat ISIL without help from Moscow.
America's woken up to the fact that it has to have an alliance with Russia. We've had quite a lot of anti-Russian rhetoric over the last few years, and now we recognise that Russia is absolutely crucial if we're to defeat terror groups like ISIS, and it's not just ISIS. We've got to put that coalition together. I think we need to put a lot more pressure on both Turkey and Saudi Arabia to get in line with that broad coalition, rather than hanging on the sidelines and to some degree undermining what we're trying to do. Because intervention in the Middle East can't just be seen as once again Britain and America and France looking out for their oil interests. It's got to be a broader coalition.
An international conference on climate change is gathering in Paris today. It's already been marred, though, by fierce clashes between police and climate activists.